Hello everyone, welcome back. A few weeks ago I posted a video about why my husband and I decided to leave Canada with our kids and what pushed us to move out. And I figured it would only be fitting to go over today how we decided on a place to go to. What are the things that we considered when we looked at different places? There were so many places that we looked at. But first, thank you to everyone who has subscribed. It really means so much to me. And if you have not yet, and if you're interested in following our journey and seeing what life in Paraguay is like, please subscribe. And if you have anything to say or questions, please put them down in the comments and I'll be sure to have a look at those. So let's get into it. There were so many different things to consider when choosing where to go to, because we wanted to make sure that we got it as right as we could, especially with a family with little kids in tow, kids being between the ages of 5 and 10. It was very important for us that we weren't just pulling them from one place to another, and we chose what was going to also be best for their future or as they grew up. So the first one, biggest one for us was economics, whether or not the country was stable economically and what the opportunities were for growing our own business. We've always been entrepreneurial minded and are not very interested in working for other people. So we needed to have not too much red tape, and coming from Canada, we knew how much red tape they had. So one thing that I noticed in the comment section in another video was people saying how broke they are, and a big reason that is the taxes that they are being put on, and that affects every household in Canada. We really wanted to make sure that that was not going to be our situation in the next country we were going to be moving to, and so looking for a country that has relatively structured spending or relatively conservative spending, and therefore lowering the taxes that's being put on all the income is very important. Another thing that was really high on our list of what to look into is education options for our children. It is very important that our children are encouraged in every aspect of their life and their faith journey, so that it was going to do that for them, as well as challenge them mentally through their math curriculums, through music, through language, learning multiple languages, even if it wasn't going to be fluent in every language, but that they were going to be challenged overall. Another important factor for us to look into was the crime rate. What was the drug crimes like? What was the violent crimes like? What about burglary? And how safe was it going to be for us to let our children run around outside and play on the yard, where we didn't have to worry for their safety or worry for our house to be broken into and all those things. It didn't have to be perfect, but we wanted to have a stable living environment and know that we can just feel that sense of security. The overall cultural decay that Canada is falling into, being one of the big things that is pushing us out of the country, we wanted to make sure that we were not going to be going into a place that was going to be following that in the near future. So it was really important that we find a country where our individual rights and freedoms are going to be respected, and the government isn't going to come in the next day or a subsection of the culture and say, this is what we now need to be doing, and that if they were going to be trying something like that, that the culture overall, they're going to push back, because the government does not have so much hand here in people's everyday lives, because the people would just push back. That is how the culture here is minded, and that was really something that drew us over here. Belize was on our list for a little bit. Two main reasons being an English-speaking country, so it'd be easier to integrate into. And then my husband has citizen right, so him getting his citizen would be easy, but we didn't know what that was going to look like for the rest of us, myself and our 3 children, because we are complete foreigners there. We didn't know what that process would look like. So we did not really feel like dealing with that. Crime rate was also something that pushed us away, because it's higher crime rate than some of the other places we considered or actually probably most of them. And cost of living when it comes to housing, we did look into, it was more because it's a tourist destination, which drives up the prices, obviously. Uruguay was another country we looked into, and the crime rate there was lower, which we liked. But as we learned more about the country and learned that economically it's harder to get started and living cost is higher, and then having a language barrier on top of that, along with harder to get citizenship, might actually even be as hard as Belize, we didn't see that being a very good fit for us because we didn't want to have too many hurdles on getting started, which is something that really put Paraguay high on the map, even though at first we weren't considering it at all, just not having good experiences here. For my husband, at least, with his childhood, but we decided to put his childhood a little more on the side and then look into the country overall, because we were obviously not going to be moving back into the colony where he grew up. So we started doing our research and then decided that overall for our family, there was just so many benefits and was going to make it easiest for us to get into. One of the big benefits also of this specific area was going to be a school that I was familiar with around here, or that I had heard about, and it had all the benefits that we were looking for when it came to our kids' education, and they have just integrated so well so far. They are learning the language really fast. There's multiple languages that they are learning, and they're doing really well in all of those, even when it's so much at one time. And they've made friends and they just really enjoy going to school. We really haven't heard complaints about sending them off to school. The overall Paraguayan culture is made up of several different groups. There's the foreigners that have come in over the last couple of years, particularly. Then there's the Mennonites, and then there's the Latino, and all of them we are finding they are relatively conservative leaning, and they will push back when the government even dabs and plays with wanting to put in anything that they don't agree with. We have seen them push back, and we really like that. And the government does not have enough control here yet that they can just implement anything that they want. And we're very happy about that. If you have made it this far, thank you so much for watching, and be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss future videos. I do plan on starting a series of videos going more into details of what different aspects of life are like in Paraguay. So be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss that. Thank you so much.